Hey guys, Zane here, and in today's video, I'm going to talk about the 5 personality traits, what each one is exactly, the strengths and weaknesses of each one, why they matter to you, and a little test you can take right after this video to find exactly which one you are. So first of all, just going through them, openness tend to be more creative, entrepreneur types. Conscientiousness is more managerial, punctual, organized. Extraversion, it's really good at connecting with people, active, enjoy, working with others. Agreeableness, good-hearted, very, pretty self-explanatory, very agreeable. And then neuroticism, worried and self-conscious. So first of all, today's topic is inspired by a conversation I just had with a friend literally 2 hours ago. We FaceTime for about an hour and a half, and he is an entrepreneur as well. He lives over in Boston, but we check in on each other a few times a year. And something that I noticed about throughout my entrepreneurial journey, about me, him, some other friends that I have that are entrepreneurs, is we're usually the openness, the open type, and we have a big weakness that a lot of us don't realize. So he was telling me about all these things that he's doing and how excited he is to start all these different things and what he's working on right now and all these little websites and stuff he has going. And I was the same exact way when I first got into entrepreneurship, because to us it's so exciting to start new things, right? Start new projects. And you start something, you get bored of it. So it's like, ooh, what can I do next? On to the next thing, And we constantly are getting creative ideas in our head, right? So this is, believe it or not, can be a huge weakness, because if you don't have something to kind of constrain that, if you don't have something to control that, then you hop from one thing to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. And that's exactly what I did when I first started in business. And I had all these small little businesses going that really didn't get amazing results in any of them. And that's kind of what I explained to him, that he kind of needs someone to constrain him or realize what he's doing. Because if you are the open type and you're surrounding yourself with other people that are open and you don't really have someone to constrain you, then you guys are just going to be bouncing ideas off of each other. You're moving on to the next thing, and there's it's just a lot of energy, but no sense of direction. So something that really helped me with this is, first of all, my girlfriend tends to be the conscientiousness type, which we will move on to next. But one thing that helped me is meditation, and just meditating every morning for 15 to 20 minutes and observing my thoughts and really understanding these thoughts that are popping up in my head. And so when I'm working on something, I start to get bored of it and I have another thought, and it's like, wait, bring it back, right? I start to get a thought, oh, let's go do this, let's go do that, let's go start this business. And meditating for open types really helps you identify the thoughts you're having and kind of bring it back and stay focused. So moving on to this type here, conscientiousness, they tend to be, like I said, more managerial, more organized, more punctual, and combining these two together is extremely powerful. Okay, ideally that's a pretty good combination, because where one is strong, the other one, or where one is weak, the other one is strong, right? So someone who is someone who's open, again, has all these ideas, and it's like a big ball of energy, and their energy is scattered, and they want to go start all these different things. Whereas conscientiousness, they tend to kind of be more constrained, right? More organized. They make good managers. And so they take the creative entrepreneur's energy and they say, that idea sounds cool, but what about what you were working on last week? What about what you were working on last month? And they kind of turn like all this scattered energy into one focused beam, right? And just to give you an example of this, the founders of Doom, it was 2 guys. I believe their names were John and Adrian, but they were basically the open type and the conscientiousness type. And I don't know if any of you guys remember Doom, but it was an old PC game, and it had like the most installs of any other program on a PC in like everyone's home. So it was massively successful. But one was the idea type, one was very creative. He was constantly innovating the game, and one was managerial. He was focused and made sure that what needed to be done got done. And it's funny because they eventually split up. They went their separate ways, and they both failed after doing that. Unfortunately, Doom failed, but the one that was more creative went on to start more businesses. He made promises to people. He told the press he was releasing all these new features. He started his own gaming company. He got this big penthouse tower office building, and he didn't have that business partner anymore. That was kind of constraints on him that kind of say, okay, that's awesome, but we need to stay focused on this, right? So eventually he failed, and the other one didn't do very well too, because a weakness of conscientiousness is you kind of have more trouble coming up with really big ideas. You have a little bit more trouble with creativity. You're more logical. You're more in the lines. So the one that was more conscientiousness is actually the founder of, or the CEO of Oculus, that VR thing for Facebook now. But yeah, they split up and they fell apart because they didn't have each other to balance each other out. So this is a very powerful combination here. And then moving on to extraversion. So loves to work with other people, loves to work in a community, in an environment. But a weakness is they don't like to work alone. They have trouble staying on task. They have trouble staying focused. And so I am mostly openness. My two biggest traits are mostly openness and then extroversion. So I've been really trying to work on that, like I said, through meditation and really controlling my thoughts and realizing my weaknesses. And if you guys figure out what traits you are the most, this is going to help so much, help you, realize your strengths and leverage them, and then focus on your weaknesses, and then either work on your weaknesses or surround yourself with other people that are strong where you're weak. Agreeableness, so they are, like I said, very unconfrontational. They're very good-hearted. They tend to be really good in like customer service roles. Same with extroversion. Extroversion is pretty good in customer service roles as well. But agreeableness, they have their biggest weakness is they have a hard time saying no, and they have a hard time kind of here. Let me pull up my notes real quick here. So agreeable people overwork themselves because they're not able to delegate their work properly, right? They might say yes to everything and they have a really hard time saying no. And then neuroticism, people who is a trait where people are a little bit more worried, anxious, a little bit more self-conscious. And these people tend to have a higher IQ actually, and they do really well in roles like a diplomat, accountant, financial planner, or a lawyer. So these are the 5 types. I would highly recommend going and finding out which type you are. There should be a link in the description below for a website called understandmyself.com. You can take that test and it'll tell you exactly what traits you have the most. But learning this about yourself, learning your traits, you're gonna find out, what are your strengths? How can you leverage your strengths to your advantage? And then what are your weaknesses? How can you work on these weaknesses? Or how can you surround yourself with people that are strong where you're weak? All right, and you're gonna get a lot further by doing that and by learning about yourself and learning about your personality traits. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, comment, let me know what you think. If you go take the test, let me know down below what your personality traits are and if that's what you expected. But I'll see you guys in the next one.